So, yeah, a lot has transpired over the past few weeks. And some good, some bad. Um, and I just, I don't know, it's like, I'm really grateful for the connections that I have that are, even if they're just online friends that I talk to once in a while. I really am grateful for that. And I'm just trying to be more present with people and just be more, because I know that it's not, how can I say it? It's not healthy at all to be um, trying to isolate. Not that you try to, but isolating because of people that really don't deserve to be involved in your life. So, I try to, um, I don't know, just even online, if I like something, I try to react to it, and stuff like that. It's kind of unnerving sometimes when somebody, and people have expressed this before, you know, um, you accepted my friend request, but I don't know you. Do you like tacos? They say things like that. It's like just a joke that's shared online. You accepted my friend request, but what do I know about you? Do you like tacos? And that's kind of how, Facebook is. So if I like something, somebody shares, I respond to it. I mean, what's the point otherwise? And people have, like a friend of mine, he was saying, um, well, that person is just a Facebook friend. They really don't matter. They really don't matter. They're just a Facebook friend, and it's just like the equivalent of me going to the grocery store and picking an item. I might like what they have to say, but you know, I mean, I might like the stuff on their profile, but it's just like going to the grocery store and browsing, and it's not like you really care that much, or you don't really need to show appreciation. It's just like the grocery store. And oh my gosh, I think we need to change that dynamic. We really need to change that, of it being just like the grocery store, you know. Especially if these are people that you've grown up with and stuff like that, and you can't take the time to like a post, just one post, you know, or they share a song and you can't take time to like just even one thing they share. Um, what's the point? And so, I've been trying to be a little bit more outgoing. I mean, naturally, I am outgoing. Um, a lot of things, a lot of the reasons that I might seem like I'm not is because of the PTSD that I've suffered since I've moved here. I've moved back here. PTSD is just a monster. It's a disorder. It's not talked about enough. It doesn't just happen with people in the military. That's a big, oh, that, it just has to be with people that were in the military. PTSD is not real. A lot of people say that. And so I've been to different mental health places, and most of them do say that, yes, I do have PTSD. There was one that said that I do not. And uh, what's that saying? The proof is it, do I get it? Am I getting it right? The proof is in the pudding, Yeah. And the proof is right there. And so I don't know why they maybe talked to me for a few seconds, and then they said, well, I think that I had scheduled an appointment, and I am telling you, that any mental health professional out there, you need to know is that when the bus system is like this, and I've literally had bus drivers tell me before, you can't be in a hurry when you take the bus. Yes, I can. If I have an appointment, I most absolutely can, and you're supposed to get to where your designated place is, and not just say, well, we fell behind, and I mean, some days they do fall behind, but I'm telling you, it's like it's very discouraging for people that can work. Now, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get my vertigo in check, and I am thinking too of maybe getting some training in something so that maybe I could have a desk job, something that is not going to be so physical, because the things that I'm qualified for, working in preschools, and that's what those kids get. I'm not kidding. They get heavy, especially, you have to change them. The parents haven't done their due diligence to potty train. That was one of my biggest, it's like, we can do it there, but you have to do it at home too, so it was my biggest issue. And I'm not talking about kids that are developmentally disabled. Of course, they're gonna not learn it as quickly, and autistic kids, I mean, they may have to always be prompted even into adulthood to use the bathroom, especially if they're severely autistic. They may have to be prompted for everything. And so, not talking about that, but lifting those kids was a chore. And so for my little, I'm only 5'1", and so anyway, I would have to have a job where it's not physical, and not too much, or something where I could take breaks a lot. And I'm just not sure with my COPD, with everything, with COPD, with vertigo, I'm not sure that I'm ready to have a 9-to-5. And so that's why I do Marketplace, and I don't make a whole lot. I make my items very cheap, and I price them very cheaply, and so I don't make a whole lot. But hey, there's things that, like, I purchased self-help books, and I share them online, and for mental health. And yeah, I do take care of my basic needs too. I like being very transparent, about my goals and what I'm doing. But yeah, when my cat's, on the verge of not having food, yeah, that extra, like if somebody buys something for $10, which you did, and thank you, that helps me get my cat's food. And if my cat's healthy and happy, it helps me continue to be healthy and happy, and help you guys, so anyway, it's yeah, because those emotional support animals are important. And so anyway, but the other day I don't know, somebody made a weird comment to me. Weird. And I'm really not sure why you feel comfortable conversing with me that way. I mean, it wasn't wildly inappropriate, but the thing is that it just kind of showed your ignorance. It kind of felt like, man, this person has some thoughts about people that struggle physically. And so anyway, though, he said, slow down, Hot Rod, when he saw me walking. And so, so that's what I wanted to talk about, is like, the jokes that people make, at our expense, at the expense of somebody that might be struggling physically, what I go through is what? It's really, really tough to go through it. And I'm not asking for sympathy, man. I just want to be treated equally. That's all it is. Don't get it twisted on that. But I was, sometimes it's like sunlight, I've noticed, affects my vertigo, and so sometimes I'll wear shades if it's, but I forgot my shades yesterday. So I'm coming back and I'm walking in. I'm like, man, I am glad I brought my cane, at least, because that sunlight was, it was just, I'm telling you, if I was not, I was afraid, man, am I going to go down or something? I mean, I feel dizzy. This is terrible. And so I brought my cane with me, but those are the things that we go through. And with people that have vertigo, and then on top of it, I do have COPD. And so it just, and that sometimes you do get dizzy a little bit, if you get short of breath and stuff like that. And so I just, until I can feel better, and I'm working on it. The stress is I'll tell you, it's really hard, and dealing with certain characters that just don't care, that just don't care how they make you feel, you don't realize, and I think you should, is that you can affect somebody's health, if you're just angry and nasty to them all the time, it does affect their health. And so I mean, I've just noticed that is like some of these places, and with my friend Eloise, is that some of the health issues that she went through, and people just did not let up, and so anyway, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, seriously, like, the health issue she has, and you still bully her? Come on, and so anyway, but he said what he said, and then he proceeded to follow me. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, I don't know if he really was following me, or just, he was behind me, but he said, well, I'm going to follow you so people think you're my girlfriend. And I said, not a chance, dude. And I mean it. I don't plan to stay here long term, okay? And to be quite honest, I'm kind of a hippie. I'm like, dude, you're too flashy for me. You're just too flashy for me. You're too flashy. You're a big show off, and that is just not me. And I did see some hints of racism there, and you and I, we might get together for, I'm thinking how long that would last, maybe a few minutes, before you learn some hard lessons, and I was serious when I said you don't want to go there. I mean, I don't know what gave him I've been nice to I like animals, and I like his dogs, and I, the one that, everybody's always saying, oh, that dog's mean. And it's not mean, it's just scared, and it's a rescue. And, and I try to accommodate that, because when it just gets startled easy, and my cat does the same thing. And so, so if I see it, and I know it, hey, if I walk past this dog, it's going to startle it, because walking down the sidewalk, and it hasn't seen me for a long time, and so I'll walk down the other sidewalk, because I don't want to startle the poor thing, you know? And so, it's been through a lot, and I know how that works with rescue animals. So if being nice to your animals means that you think that I have something for you, you know, wow, is all I can say. Wow. But no, I just, I've learned to is not to somebody um, give me some advice, not, well, it was back in 2017, really, when I was in a living situation, and so somebody gave me some advice, and because this person was just, you know, um, who you hang around, who you hang around matters, and so he was just, well, he's just acting like a jerk and just treating people badly, you know, um, and it didn't take much, all you really had to do was disagree with him, or could be a girl that he liked that didn't like him, and I was just telling him, I'm like, she has a boyfriend, leave her alone. And he just couldn't stand the rejection, and so he started treating her bad, or treating her badly, also treating the boyfriend badly, and and so it was a situation, but I was friends with them, and I was always having to make apologies for him and say, you know um, dude, you really, but I would tell him, you really need to tone it down. You're gonna get yourself in trouble, and so I tell other people too. Well, I tell them he struggles, and this is what he struggles with. But at the end of the day, okay, people might understand your struggle, okay, but if you're just doing everything you can to make someone's life just terrible, then it's not that we don't understand. It's because it's getting bad, and you're failing to be compassionate just because of your struggles. And so anyway, but I couldn't make excuses for him anymore, and people started looking badly at me because I was friends with them, started thinking that I was just probably just as bad. And well, it ruined a lot of things for me. It really hurt me. What does scripture say? Bad company corrupts good character. Yeah, that's the scripture in Proverbs. So trying to help him did me in. Hanging around with him did me in. And I remember that. And I try not to repeat the past. So my friend, basically what he said, and I kind of have to do a little word play on it. He says, the best advice I can ever give you, don't smit where you live. Don't smit. Imagine going to the bathroom. Don't smit where you live. And so that's one of the biggest pieces of advice he had for me. So yeah, you don't want to, especially if it's a situation where you are on assisted housing, low income housing, and it's on-site management and stuff like that, and they see what the person does and stuff like that, and then you're seen hanging around with them. Don't do that. Don't have relationships, romantic relationships with people that can't have no self-control, and so anyway, I think about him quite a bit. We were good friends, and he started ignoring her, because he was like, well, she's in a relationship, and he says it would have never worked anyway because she reminded me of my deceased wife, and so it would have never worked anyway. And then we started out as friends, and then we realized, wow, we have a lot in common, and so I started dating him, but I was always making excuses for him, always getting him out of jams, and it was exhausting, just exhausting. And so that's why, even if I did like it, which I don't, I think you're too flashy, you're too, about showing off. I don't, like I said, I am a minimalist. I am pretty much a hippie, I don't know if you'd use that term anymore because the real ones are gone, but, or close to being gone, moving on to that spiritual realm. But, yeah, I'm not into all this material stuff, and I just don't understand these people, okay, that are on disability, that have to have the best of the best, that you will not see them one day, even one day. They get assistance with housing, so if there's assistance with other things, then why are you thinking that you're better, But you'll never see them even one day at a food bank. You'll never see them walking to go to get to their destination. Basically, what you'll see them doing is begging for rides, or the other thing is that borrowing money, just borrow, and I had to put a stop to it. I'm telling you, I had to put a stop to it because all I have is me. I don't have a big family that's going to help me. All I have is me, so I had to put a stop to it. I'm like, man, I need toilet paper. I don't buy toilet paper for you, and so but they act like they have a right to be living in the lap of luxury, and really don't put the effort in, and I feel like that's gonna ruin us, as a disabled community. That's gonna ruin us. That's what, I feel like people are taking it. What's that box? People are taking this to the extreme, like saying, backing a leader up that wants to take away our Quest card, whatever, he's saying that we are just going to have healthy stuff. Well, I have no problem with that, but, the thing is, though, up the amount we get on there so that we can afford fruits and vegetables, because right now even, it's hard to get fruits and vegetables with the amount that we get. What I do, I don't, someone that says I don't buy fruits and vegetables because I can't afford them at all. Okay, that's wrong. Because what I do is I will, if all I can afford is one grapefruit, because grapefruit is so good for you, if I can afford one grapefruit a week, I'll buy one grapefruit a week. If I can afford, say I go in there and I'm saying minimal. If I can only afford 3 carrots, then I'll just buy 3 carrots and I'll combine it with whatever else, a piece of meat, like a piece of chicken, or chili with carrots on the side or something like that. It sounds weird, but that's a vegetable. Cucumbers. If I could just buy 1 or 2, you don't have to buy. It's like, what the heck? How many vegetables do you have to buy? If you just buy, if you just buy just a few, it's 3 tomatoes, is that going to kill your bank account or, whatever? Is that going to, is it not your bank account, but is it going to kill your amount on your card? You don't have to buy a outrageous amount. But the thing is, if which he will, the bill's already passed, when he does cut it, it's, vegetables are expensive, so if it gets to the point where all you're allowed to buy is that, and cuts of meat that you have to cook, that's going to get expensive. That's going to get very expensive. Unfortunately, the processed foods are cheap, and once in a while, what I'll have to do, because there's tater tots, there's, I can't remember all of it, lunch meat, sometimes I'll buy deli meat and I'll put a little bit of deli meat on the plate, and if I want to do the no carb thing, I'll just slice up some tomatoes and put that on the side, and you don't have to have the bread really, but things like that, or if all I can get are chicken nuggets or whatever, then I'll buy the chicken nuggets, and then whatever vegetable, just chop that up and put that on the side, and so sometimes you have to buy processed food. So that's going to really be a big hit on, it's going to be hard. Now I understand, no soda, no candy. I understand that. That's understandable. But all the other food that you're going to make, like we can't get it. That's and like I said, I'm not the type that I have to live in a lap of luxury. But, it is what it is. But people have created, some of us, not me, but some of us have created this attitude, you can't create an attitude, but you can contribute to it. They really shouldn't begrudge us something to eat, and they shouldn't begrudge us a roof over our head, but a lot of people have contributed to this way of thinking, because I've talked to people that have, they've helped others, they've helped others with their pets, they've helped, and stuff like that, and they've helped them with other things, with bills, power bills, things of that nature. And one guy, he walked in somebody's house, it was somebody he was helping, he's like, man, I can't believe I helped them. And he said that they had 5 boxes of soda, like they're not in need. I could see the point, 5 boxes of soda, why do you need 5 boxes of soda? It's like, you think you're gonna die from not drinking soda, so you stock up on, you have 5 boxes of soda, and I asked, was this person were they on benefits? He says, yep. So, if anything, maybe this will be a lesson, and if anything, this will be a lesson to just cut down a little bit, I have tea that I make. I make tea. Tea's good for you. I make tea. I have green tea. I have all sorts of tea that I make. I have Gatorade, that I make, and all sorts of alternatives to soda. You don't have to drink soda 24/7. And even chilling some water, some ice cold water. Oh, hey, in this heat, that's, it's nice. And And I mean, if you have oranges, just squirt a little bit of orange in it. That'll give you some flavor. But acting like it's an absolute necessity, good grief. And so those are the, that's kind of what's been on my mind. And I like I said, my goals are simple. They're really simple, is that I want to create more of an awareness, that not, I mean, you've got the people like me that, man, it would be a hard thing for me to hold down a job right now, okay? And then you do have the working poor people that they do work. They still need the assistance. They still need Quest card, everything else. They still need the assistance, They're not rich. I mean, living off a minimum wage when, I mean, the rentals around here are anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Okay, and so it's not, and it's not like we're getting paid an outrageous amount of money either. I'm after deductions. I mean, I mean, after deductions, you should see what I make. It's not much, and then there's no way that I could afford, if I was to get a place that was like, say, $1,000 a month, I'd have to get a roommate. And so you're forcing people that really, I mean, I'm almost a senior, but you're forcing people that are seniors, basically. Some of us, I don't have long. I'm 51 years old. When I turn 55, I'll be a senior. But you're forcing people that are seniors to be in roommate situations like, we're college kids or something. And so that's all I wanted to say. But yeah, I don't know why that, going back to that, I don't know why he did that. I do not know why, he did that, felt comfortable enough to do that. Being friendly with somebody does not mean that you have a right to walk up behind them and say that you're going to pretend that they're your anything. I'm not in a hurry. I'm definitely not in a hurry. I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't, get into a relationship, but someone would have to literally, come up to me and say that they were wanting to date me or whatever. I don't make assumptions or anything like that. And so I don't know why he felt comfortable making assumptions that it was okay to say something like that in front of all the neighbors and everybody to hear. And I just don't, that's not how I move. I don't move that way at all. And that's just one rule that I've always had since that last time, is that I don't date anybody in my apartment complex. Because if they turn into a weirdo, for lack of a better word, if they get weird, then I'm seen with them, and it turns into a bad thing.